The first gameplay for Planet Coaster 2 has been shown off, so let's run through everything you might have missed in the gameplay reveal. Firstly, we got a great overview of some of the new slides and attractions coming to the game, and there is loads. Next up, we got our first look at the game's UI. Now this just looks fantastic. It looks like a great combination of Planet Coaster 1 and Planet Zoo, with a lot more refined features than before. It looks really clean and great. We also got a great look at quite a lot of the new slides in the game, especially the plunge slide, which I'm so excited to say this, but it has stairs. Thank you so much, Frontier. We've now got stairs in Planet Coaster, like actual proper stairs. No more path tool messing around trying to get up to elevated rides. We have actual stairs. The pools also look great as well, offering a huge range of new guest animations, and as you can see on the right there, lifeguards. You can see here in the gameplay how the lifeguards have a certain range that they can patrol, and this will give you an equivalent safety rating for the pool area. There's also a few new shops where you can buy poolside merchandise and tickets to access the pool area. These shops look like the exact same vendor style ones that are in Planet Coaster 1. We also get a good look at the changing rooms in Planet Coaster 2. These are going to operate just like toilets do in Planet Coaster 1, but the guests will actually spend some time in there. As you can see here, there's a queue outside one to wait for guests to go in. We also got a great look at some of the overhauled guests in the game, offering a greater diverse range, which is fantastic to see. They also talked about features such as shading ratings, which will definitely have an impact on guests' happiness. Say if an area has no shade, the guests will get sunburn and complain about this, so that you build areas with more shade. We then got a fantastic overview on how you can theme the flat rides in the game, and there's so many different opportunities to do this. With all the different scalable non-grid items we can stick onto flat rides and coasters, I cannot wait to have a go with this. It looks so cool. Limitless customization. You can also see as well that the actual ride queue entrance has changed in looks from Planet Coaster 1, which is nice to see. This would make it much more easy to customise as there's less there. They also gave us a great look at some of the ride's customisations, including patterns. Each ride will have its own unique set of patterns, and these can be changed in a multitude of different ways, including different pattern types and colouring. This clip here shows a great example of ride customization using scenery. This is one of the Insanity rides from Planet Coaster 1, remastered in Planet Coaster 2, and as you can see, it's a lot more stripped back in terms of the actual aesthetics of it, but that opens up so many more opportunities for you to customize the ride by yourself to the heart's content. As you can see, using all the different scaled objects here to attach them onto the actual ride itself looks fantastic. I cannot wait to experiment with this. We also got a great look at some of the new slides coming into the game. There's a whole host of different options we can choose from, with loads of different types of slides too. This should make creating slides an absolute blast, as it just looks like there's pretty much limitless opportunities for loads of different elements and slide types. It's going to be great. This shot also gives you a nice view at how freeform the pool editor is going to be too, creating loads of different shapes. They also spoke about how the asynchronous multiplayer will work within the game. It will work on a system where one person will have the park file at one point, but there was also talks of where you can join a group when it will tell you when one person is using that park file, and then once they've saved it, another person can open that file. There will also be different versions of the park file as well, so say if you delete something by accident, you can go back and get something from a previous save. And they also mentioned that a game counter for the amount of pieces, or like the Oswald counter from Planet Coaster 1, will be implemented on consoles. This is purely for a performance standpoint to make the game run better on consoles when you have larger parks. There will also not be a cap on the amount of pieces you'll be able to use on PC parks, meaning that the performance is solely based on how good your system is. And there will also be a feature in place to tell you the percentage of your park if it was on console, so that when collaborating between PC and console, you will know the limits of the console parks so that the PC players don't exceed those limits, as the console players might not be able to open them on their end. Next we move on to a really exciting part where they talked about scenery that is attachable to ride vehicles. This just looks so cool. As you can see here, this coaster has lights running down the side and a rubber dinghy on the front. By placing just one piece on the side of a cart, you can mirror it so that it attaches itself to the other side too, and use a feature called twinning, which applies it to every single cart along that train and all the other trains in the circuit too. I love how seamlessly integrated the pools are as well. You can see that the slides actually drop off into this pool, there's a diving board, and then guests can just access it normally as well, which just leads to so much more freedom in designing. We also got a great look at the different janitors and ride mechanics and lifeguards around the park as well. These characters have also had the same overhaul that all of the different park guests have had, leading to a lot of different looking and diverse characters as well, which is brilliant to see. Then we got to go for a ride on the coaster that we saw earlier, and when I say that the audio in this game has had a huge improvement, just listen to the coaster POV. This sounds brilliant. The audio has had such an amazing overhaul. Next, they move on to the coasters, and they only showed about a second of this, so I had to quickly screenshot it. But this is our coaster selection menu, and there is quite a lot of information we can get from this. There is also a DLC tab at the top, which means that we are definitely going to get more coasters in the future. But from what we can see at the moment, we have a B&M Flawless coaster, the inverted flying coaster, which I don't think is the flying coaster that they placed down earlier, because that one had a different name. Hopefully the inverted flying coaster is of a different manufacturer, perhaps the Vekoma Flyer. Then we have the sit-down 4-seater, which could really be anything. Could quite easily be a Gerstlauer Eurofighter, although that is 8 seats, so maybe the smaller version, or a Gerstlauer Bob coaster. Next we have the Big M Ride Splash coaster, which is quite cool that we have in-game manufacturers. I'm assuming that is a Mack water coaster, assuming the Big M as well. Next we have the Murphy & Sons Star Loop. This kind of feels like it will be a Schwarzkopf coaster to me. Again, we don't know because we haven't seen any of these. Then we have the Wave coaster, which is quite obviously the B&M Surf coaster, and at the bottom we have a wooden coaster from a different manufacturer. Again, all these cool in-game manufacturers are quite nice to see. I'm assuming that this is probably not the wooden coaster we saw at the end of the game, because that was called the Splinter. This one's just called wooden, so perhaps it's a more classic type of coaster, or it could be a gravity group, which could be cool. Then across the top we have different sections of coasters, so we have a chain lift, launched alternate lift, which sounds pretty cool. I don't know whether that includes like tire lifts instead of chain lifts, or something completely different where you could have like an elevator lift, or there's so many different possibilities. Next up we have suspended wooden wing coasters, which means there's probably going to be a few different types of wing coasters in the game, which aren't going to be just the 2 B&M wing coasters that we have from Planet Coaster 1 and the 4th Dimension one. Maybe we're going to get more. Then is water coaster. That's going to be really cool to use. Maybe there's more than one of those if it's got its own tab, and the special tab at the end, which I'm sure is full of some really cool rides, and I cannot wait to have a go with these. They then showed us how easy and intuitive it is to place down ride blueprints. This looks like it's had a huge improvement over the previous game. It's hard to tell whether these are in-game supports too, but they do look really good. This also gives us a look at a remastered coaster type from Planet Coaster 1. The Mara X-Car mod looks like it's had a lot of improvements, which is great to see. The object scaling that's in the game as well, we also got a little quick demo of. This looks like a brilliant feature that I will definitely be utilising a lot. Being able to scale any gridless objects in the game will be such a lifesaver of a feature. We also got a great overview of the new B&M Surf Coaster model. This looks fantastic and I cannot wait to use this. We then got a brief look at the flat ride selection menu. There looks to be quite a few good ones in here, along with some returning favourites and new ones. And one of the new flat rides that they placed down was called the Monsoon Chute. This thing looks fantastic. I've only seen a video of one of these in operation in real life, and it looks like they've recreated it brilliantly in the game. It's also fantastic to see that the new flat rides in the game have a lot more of a vanilla style to them, meaning that you can theme them up however you like. And they showed off some great examples of different variations of them being themed up as well. These two rides also offer a great view at the new themes in the game as well. We've got the aquatic theme on the left and the resort theme on the right. This shot also gives us a great example of how you can actually attach moving scenery onto moving scenery. So the actual ride vehicle here that moves up and down, you can attach not only just normal pieces to this, but moving pieces too, which is great. This clip here really shows you how easy it is to place down rides in Planet Coaster 2. There's a big path pad here which has been created, and you can simply just plonk a ride down on it and it will instantly snap to the path. That is a great welcome improvement. We then got our first look at one of the wooden coasters in the game called the Splinter. This looks to be a GCR wooden coaster, which is fantastic to see this ride type returning to the game. They then showed us a great shot of how the blueprinting will work in the game, how you can actually blueprint slides and pools together and place them with ease onto paths. This is a great improvement over the previous game, as we all know how much of a nightmare the paths were. Being able to see them used so easily like this brings me so much confidence for this game. I cannot wait to give this feature a go in my parks. They then placed down another new coaster model to this game, the returning B&M Flying Coaster. Great to see this coaster back in the game. We then got a couple of brilliant clips of the new path builder in the game. This is incredible to see that they've put so much work into making this feature a lot better than it was in the first game. There's so many different options building paths now. You can draw a circle to create a path, there's stamp tools, there's all sorts, and the original pathing tools from Planet Coaster 1 like grid. This is going to open up the potential to create far more varied and interesting paths, but more importantly, much more realistic ones as well. And I cannot wait to use this feature in my parks, because I can tell you now it will be an absolute lifesaver. Then to finish up, we got a great clip of how the actual coaster train editor works and how you can attach scenery, mirror it, twin it, you can do all sorts. This feature looks incredible and I cannot wait to give it a go in my parks. The amount of train customization that this will unlock is insane. You'll basically be able to create all of your favourite trains from real life coasters. Like, imagine the detail of the front of Iron Gwazi or Zadra. You'll be able to recreate that with in-game pieces on those coaster models, which will be fantastic. And that about does it for everything that was revealed in today's gameplay showcase. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more gameplay releases like this. Any more news with the game, I will be sure to make a video on it. Also, check out my new park series that I've just started. It's my final park series in Planet Coaster 1 and my best work yet. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.